I want to do something a little different for December. I want to offer you guys the opportunity to ask me almost anything. What I'm going to try to do is answer 1 or 2 questions a day for the month. So all you have to do is leave a question down below. Keep your questions rather general. If you had a question that you want to get answered, leave it down below and maybe I can answer it. Hey, yo, this is Dash. Get ready. Ayo, this is Dash, and here we go with another response to an Ask Dash question. And this one comes from my man Big Steve up at Big Steve Smoke 'em and Choke 'em Barbecue. He says, do you ever worry how things will go when you make a delivery to a new customer's home? But of course I do. I worry. I worry about the cook. I worry they're not going to like my food. I worry that they're going to not call me again. I worry they're not going to tell me, if they like the food. I worry about all types of things, man, and I just don't ever verbalize. But I do worry, and I worry about every single cook, and I tell you and I tell the customer whenever I receive some positive feedback, I'm like, look, I worry because of this, okay? But here's a perfect example. So a friend of mine and one of you guys who actually watches the videos, my man's name is Evan. Evan hit me up and he says, hey man, I need you to bring some lamb to a friend of mine's house. They're having us a birthday party for this friend, a gathering, and I really would like for you to take some lamb down there. And I'm like, okay, cool. And the whole thing is, he's a county or two away. So I cook the lamb, I do the lamb for him, and this was right after Thanksgiving. So I do the lamb for him and I take the 45-minute drive down to this person's house where I need to deliver food. And I get in and I pull up the driveway because there's no street parking. I normally don't like parking people's driveways unless there's ample parking or there's nowhere else for me to park. On the street, there was no street parking. So I back up into the driveway, I get out of the car and I have the lamb in my hand. Now mind you, my buddy Evan hasn't paid me yet. I'm figuring Evan's gonna be at the party, he's gonna pay me when I get to the party and deliver the food. Like, okay. So I had the lamb in my hand and I start walking up and I see people at the house and I can see someone pointing like, who the hell is that? So I walk up to the house and the door opens up, or towards the house, and the door opens up and I'm like, hi, I'm looking for Evan. And the guy's like, oh, Evan's not here. And I'm like, okay. And I said, well, I have this lamb for Evan. He said, you are Evan today. And I'm like, excuse me? He said, you brought this on Evan's behalf. And I was like, okay. He said, so you're Evan today. And I'm like, I'm not staying for your party. I don't know y'all. But he said, no. just the lamb. Evan sent this lamb. And I was like, oh, okay. Here's the lamb. I hadn't got paid yet. Right now, mind you, Evan is a good friend and I've known Evan for quite some time. So I get back in the car and I'm like, hey man, I dropped your food off. I thought you were gonna be here. He's like, no, I'm sorry. He's like, no. I'm 1,000 miles away. I'm not, obviously I'm not there. He said, but I wanted to send some of them, some of your food to my friends for his, to my friend for his birthday because it looks amazing and I haven't had the opportunity to have it yet, but I wanted to share that with them. And I was like, well, that's cool, but he said, my bad. Sorry if you felt a little uncomfortable dropping the food off because you didn't know I wasn't going to be there. He said, I should have made it a little more clear that I was just sending the food and I needed you to take the food, but I wasn't going to be there. And I'm like, all right, okay. And then he's like, well, how much do I owe you and what's your PayPal? And I'm like, all right, well, your total is this and here's my PayPal information. And I replied to him and I said something along the, towards the effect of, I was, when I took the food and I didn't see you, I said I was a little worried, to be honest. I said, but I was like, I hope he wasn't catfishing me or anything like that, right? He said he just laughed so hard. He's like, no, you know, really apologize for not making it clear and putting you in an uncomfortable position. So that's one of the latest uncomfortable positions I've been in. But I tell you what, man, there is a saying. The saying is act as if, okay? And if you're a fan of Ben Affleck, there was a movie produced in the early 2000s, I guess, and it was called Boiler Room. And the whole thing is Ben Affleck talks about this situation, and I don't know why it resonated with me, and it stuck with me, and it's one of those things that I've just taken within life. And the whole thing is, he says, act as if. And if you want the exact quote, you can go and look on YouTube and search for act as if, okay? But he basically says, act as if you're the biggest person in the room, okay? Act as if you are the best salesman that you are in the world. Act as if you are the smartest person in the room, within reason, I guess. But the whole thing is, if you actually look at the quote, that is the mantra that I carry forward. So whenever I go someplace new, I don't know, I just pretty much, I act like if I go into, like when I went into the Restaurant Depot for the first time, I acted as if I was supposed to be there, okay? And when I do different things, I act as if I'm not, scared out of my mind sometimes, or worried. There have been times where I've dropped food off, and mind you, I live in Baltimore City. There are some less savory places, or there are some places in Baltimore City that leave a lot to be desired. Let's put it that way. I remember dropping food off at this one specific place, and unfortunately someone had just gotten shot. Someone had just gotten killed in the area, and it was probably 40 or 50 people standing out on this block. I pull up and I parked my car, and I think I might have had my wife with me at that time. So I parked the car, lock her in the car, and I'm like, all right, let's stay here. And I'm walking up the street, and I'm seeing cats, shooting dice on the corner, sitting on the steps, and I'm just walking past these cats. And the whole thing is, let me let you know that I'm not here for the wrong reason, right? So it's like, hey, look, I'm walking up the street. Hey, fellas, what's going on? Hey, fellas, how y'all doing today? I'm gonna let them know, yo, I'm not 5-0. I'm not a policeman or anybody coming to rob them, because they don't know who I am, and they could be just as afraid of me as I am of possibly them. So the whole thing is, there are different situations, and you just have to handle it accordingly or act as if. All right. So Steve, unfortunately, I don't know if that was really long-winded to not answer your question, but there are times when I do worry about going into different places. I don't typically worry about delivering food to new people, as far as because typically I try to get paid up front. That's the main thing. I know people are serious, and I try to maintain my sanity by knowing that, hey, they've paid me already. And one of the other things too I've been doing as of late is taking a few more, or a lot more, electronic payments. Therefore, the likelihood, or I've reduced the risk of being robbed, if at all possible. Anyway, again, Steve, hopefully that answers your question. Again, with a story or two mixed in, but that's what I do. So seriously, Steve, act as if, and anyone else out there, act as if. Seriously, check out that clip on YouTube, act as if, and it's Ben Affleck. He's standing around talking in a boardroom. It moved me, and it left a lasting impression on me. And I know that's probably not the first instance of using that particular phrase, but that was the one that resonated with me most. So thank you guys again, as always, for watching. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. If you haven't left a question down below, please do, but I think I've already hit my number, so I might just reply to you via the comments. But nonetheless, don't let that stop you. If the question is good enough, I might actually reply. Anyway, thank you guys again, and I'll see you in the next one.